Hey guys, Bird Yu-Gi-Oh here, coming at you with my Salamangreat deck. This is a budget version again. It was part of my top 10 budget decks for this format, and for obvious reasons, this is just like an amazing deck right now. It even has some new support that's not directly Salamangreat, and I went a little bit different route with this version. You'll see what I mean when we get to it. But yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed. I have all of my top 10 budget decks that I did in that video. All of those profiles coming up. So make sure you don't miss any of those. And we'll get right into this one. Starting with I Wish 3 Gazelle, but sadly just one. It'll probably forever always be at one. It's so good. But honestly, with this version, you don't have to see Gazelle. Obviously, it's amazing if you do. And usually you're going to be able to do exactly what you need to do, build an amazing board, but you don't live and die by Gazelle, especially with this version. I'll show you what I mean when we get to some of the other extender cards. Absolutely amazing card. If a Salamangreat monster is sent to your graveyard, you can special summon this card, and then you can send a Salamangreat card from your deck to your graveyard. That could be like a trap, a spell, so that you can then, add it to your hand or set it, whatever you want to do. Or a monster, like Spinny. Sending Spinny to the grave is sometimes nice to just get another extender on board. But yeah, Gazelle, absolutely amazing. A really good normal summon for Salamangreats is Foxy. Basically, you normal summon, and then you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you can add an excavated Salamangreat card to your hand, and then you shuffle the rest back. If this card is in your graveyard, and there's a face-up spell and trap on the field, you can discard a Salamangreat card, special summon this, and then destroy a face-up spell and trap. So it's really good, obviously, if you're going second. If your opponent has, a problematic card on the board, you can always get rid of it with Foxy. And then I still really like 3 Spinny, especially in this version. You'll see why. But you can play 2 if you want. If you control a Salamangreat card, you discard this, and it gains 500 attack. And then if you control a Salamangreat monster other than Spinny, and this card's in your graveyard, so basically you can get it to the graveyard anytime you want. And then once it's there, you can then just special summon this to the field for a free Cyberse monster, basically. And then I still like 2 Jack Jaguar. It's got high attack. It's a level 4. It's your main card that you want, at least in the graveyard, because you target a Salamangreat monster in your graveyard, shuffle into the deck, and then you can special summon this, that a link monster to his own link monster points to. So really good, easy way of getting a level 4 on the board, basically. And then still play 1 Falco. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you could target a Salamangreat spell and trap in your graveyard and set that to your field. So that's a really good effect. And then if it's in the graveyard, you can target a Salamangreat monster you control, return it to the hand, and then you can special summon him. And again, that's another just free level 4. And then just still one foul. If a Salamangreat monster is normal or special summoned, you could special summon this card from your hand. So that's really good. And then you could also send a Salamangreat card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, and then target a set spell and trap your opponent controls, and that set card cannot be activated. So that's sometimes cool too. But that's it for the Salamangreat monsters. Like I said, you even don't have to play 3 Foxy if you don't want to. You could always cut down on those if you feel the need to. But otherwise, I like the ratios. And then got to play 3 Lady Debug. It is by far your best normal summon. If you don't open Lady Debug, the next best one is obviously Foxy, but you just normal summon this, and then you can add a level 3 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. So that's usually your way of searching your Gazelle, or if you already have a Gazelle, sometimes a Spinny. It's just really, really good. And then the card that just is some new support that just really helps this deck out. It makes it so that you don't, like I said, have to see Gazelle all the time, is Parallel Exceed. It's so good. If you link summon, you can just special summon this card from your hand to a zone that a link monster points to, and then you can special summon another Parallel Exceed from your deck. If this card is special summoned by the effective Parallel Exceed, its level becomes 4. So that's again decent for going into some of your Exceed summons. So, and it's Cyberse, so it just allows you to do basically all your plays. Go into whatever you need to. The only thing is it's wind, but otherwise it's the perfect card for this deck. It's really good. And then as usual in Salamangreats, your best friend is going to be hand traps. So we play 3 Ash Blossom because you can use it to go into your links, and also with Sunlight Wolf, you can add it back to your hand from your graveyard after you use it. So that's sometimes cool to do. Definitely play Ash Blossom in Salamangreats. It's really good in it. 3 Effect Veiler. I've said it before. Playing 3 is really good because you can use it more than once per turn. So really good. And then just 2 Ogre. It still comes up quite a bit. I really like it. So try it out. I think it's good. You can also do DD Crow, which is very good as well. So either one is very good as like a budget hand trap. That's it for the monsters. The Parallel Exceed is just really good. Make sure you guys try that out. Really good card. And then spells, of course, our main really good card that you really want to see in all of your opening hands. Signet Mining. You just send a card from your hand to the graveyard, which again kind of just fits in perfectly with Salamangreats because you can always get those cards back usually. And then you send a card from your hand to the graveyard and then add a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. Really good. Unfortunately, you can only use it once per turn, so drawing 2 is not that great, but I have a card again that we'll show you later. Circle. There's a reason it's limited. It's a quick play that adds a Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand. Simple as that. Way too good. 2 Will. This is your way of special summoning a Salamangreat from your hand or graveyard. Really good. Open up this and just a couple, ways of going into your links, and you're sitting pretty good. So really good card. Potentially even played at 3 if you like it that much. It's really good. Just 1 Sanctuary. You search it off of Baylinks, and this is your way of being able to link summon from a Sunlight Wolf into another Sunlight Wolf. Very good card. Or, summoning a Baylinks off another Baylinks. And then, of course, we're playing 3 Called by the Grave. This is a budget version, but I feel there's enough budget options in here that you could hopefully splurge, and you might have these laying around. 3 Called by the Grave is going to really help you because this deck searches a lot, and it wants a lot of effects to go off, like especially Baylinks. You really want to get that search of that Sanctuary. And then the card I've been talking about, playing 3 Pot of Desires. It feels like I'm playing this in every single deck, and I might be, because it's just that good. It's way too good. It's the reason that we're playing 3 ofs of like Spinny and Foxy and Signet Mining. Obviously you want to activate it after you have that Gazelle. That's basically the main card you would prefer not to banish, but otherwise really doesn't matter. You have enough extenders and cards that you can just work around if you happen to banish something you need. Pot of Desires is just simply +2. So good. Monster Reborn. Again, you'll have monsters in the grave to easily summon back with this. And then the last spell is Foolish Burial. Again, there's a lot of cards that you potentially want in the grave to then be able to just summon them back for free, basically. So, really good card. And then 2 Roar. It's a counter trap. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, while you control a Salamangreat link, you just negate and destroy. Really good. And then 2 Rage. Again, this one, the effect you're mostly going to be using is you target a link monster, Salamangreat link monster you control, that was link summoned using a monster with its same name, and then you destroy cards your opponent controls up to that monster's link rating. So like say you have Sanctuary and you link into a Sunlight Wolf and then go from a Sunlight Wolf into another Sunlight Wolf, you have a link 2, so you get to destroy 2 with Rage. So card's really, really good. Just pop 2. Really nice. So that is it for the main deck. I believe we're at 44, but again, we're playing that Pot of Desires, so you want a few extra cards in there. And then for the extra deck, Balinx is just your easiest one to go into. It just requires a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. If it's link summoned, you add Salamangreat Sanctuary. If it's in the graveyard and a Salamangreat card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can just banish this from your graveyard instead. So protection, just perfect card for this deck. 3 Sunlight Wolf. He's kind of your main card. If this deck were to be touched on the ban list, I would imagine that would be the only card, but then that would just completely kill the deck. But Konami has done that before, so I wouldn't put it past them to touch this card. But if a monster's normal or special summoned to a zone that this card points to, you can add a fire monster from your graveyard to your hand. You can't normal or special summon monsters with that monster's name, but then during your main phase, if you control this card that was link summoned using another Sunlight Wolf, you can add a Salamangreat spell or trap from your graveyard to your hand. So just 2 amazing effects. Downward pointing arrow, he's perfect. 1800 attack still. Too good. And then we play 2 Heat Leo. This is kind of your going second card. If it's link summoned, you just target a card your opponent in your opponent's spell and trap, shuffle it into the deck, and then during your main phase, if this card was link summoned using a Heat Leo as material, you could target a face-up monster on the field and 1 monster in your graveyard, and the attack of the first target becomes equal to the others until the end of the turn. So you can lower, a high attack monster your opponent has, pretty low, with depending on what card you target in your graveyard. And then 1 Hita. Everyone's still playing Ash Blossom, so this is your way of just getting a free extender, basically. You're just going to target a fire monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to a zone this card points to. So pretty cool sometimes. Nightmare Phoenix for getting rid of problem spells, and it's a fire effect, so it allows you to go into some of your links as well. Borload, pretty easy to go into whenever you want to, and I find it still is very, very good. And then since we are playing all these Cyberse, extenders with Parallel Exceed, and just many ways of getting Cyberse on there, you got to do the Update Jammer, Transcode Talker. It's just a super, super easy OTK with this deck. They're super cheap. Definitely pick them up. Definitely play them. And really any Cyberse deck. You can just OTK out of nowhere. So nice. And the last 2 cards we play, 1 Abyss Dweller. Sometimes that's just your go-to. And another option is Baguska. I found, just playing online and stuff, that a lot of people have forgotten about this card, and especially forgotten how good it is. If you just have a defense position, Baguska, most decks they can't do anything. It's so good. A lot of people, like I said, have forgot about it. So playing this should be a really nice surprise. But yeah, that's the deck, guys. Again, this was it's not crazy budget, but it still definitely is budget. You could always substitute expensive cards, but Pot of Desires, no longer expensive. The main one I see in here that's expensive is Called by the Grave, and obviously like Ash Blossom, but otherwise everything's pretty cheap, commons and whatnot. So try it out, and we will catch you guys on the next one.